Masithandaze. Almighty God, we have called us to govern this province. We ask your help to make decisions and laws that will be just and will promote the interests of all our people. Onmachtige God, ons bid dat u gedurende ons vergaderings ons dienende wesels sal gee en ons motiewe suiwer sal hou en dat u ons sal help om ons tekortkominge te oorkom en al ons besluite aan u op te dra. Sikilela Nkosi ilizwe lethu nabantu balo. Umisele Nkosi ukulunga kwiphondo lethu. Nkosi sikilela iAfrika. Gcina abantwana bayo. Khokhela Nkosi inkokheli zayo. Inike uxolo Nkosi eAfrika. All this we beg in your most holy name. Amen. You may all be seated. Thank you, honorable members, distinguished guests, our visitors here, the people of the Western Cape. You are reminded that we are in a hybrid session of this parliament. And of course, it is important for those who are visitors to understand that if you are a guest, you are either here in the chamber or you are in the virtual platform, and you do not participate in the proceedings of this parliament. You are an observer, and therefore, as an important visitor, we appreciate you as a guest. Also important is the conduct of visitors that do not press your microphone online and do not activate your camera. For the honorable members that are here with me in the chamber, I would like to indicate to you, honorable members, that do not join the virtual session because you are in this hybrid venue. So because you are here, you don't have to necessarily be on the other platform. And that is in terms of Rule 40 to avoid disruptions which could hinder the ability for members who are in the virtual platform to engage in a much more productive way. Finally, I would like to request that if you are here with us in the chamber, in the gallery, I know it can be at times exciting and you might be tempted to hand a clap as a brief, but please do not. Because if you want to clap hands, you are not allowed to, because this is the House of Parliament. Let me, before we begin with our program, which is with our order of the day, indicate to the honorable members that in the gallery, as you look up there, we've got special guests, and these are the guests from a school that I visited recently, and it's the Brede Valley School of Skills. And those who live in the Brede River Valley municipality will say they know that school in the Cape Winelands. I visited them recently, and I invited them to come see us here today as the honorable members. What is so special about them being here today is that this is a school that focuses on learners with special needs. And it says a message, it sends a strong message that this parliament is a parliament that is inclusive, a parliament of all people, but a parliament, of course, because they are in the platteland, that does not see itself as a parliament of only for those people who live in Cape Town. Because the platteland equally deserves to be in this parliament. That's why we're all from all the corners of this province. Honorable members, these are learners with special needs and that they live with some form or more of disabilities. And one of the most important things is a disability is not something that shows that you are unable, you are incapable. It shows that there are some limitations, but they, as part of an inclusive society, belong here, equally like any other child in this province and in this country. Can you please, honorable members, kindly join me in welcoming Mr. Says, the principal of the school, and the teachers that are up there, together with all the learners that are here, to this provincial parliament. Thank you. Some of them said to me they've never been into an elevator. Yeah, they said they've never. 2022. Some, they've never been on the 6th floor in an elevated building, let alone being in Cape Town. We really have a lot to do, but that is why we are here. Thank you, honorable members. The order of the day is the interpellations and followed by the questions to the Premier without notice, and then there's member statements. May I then, at this point, with the first interpellation by Honorable Makamba Botja to the Leader of Government Business, Honorable the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Ivan Meyer, and request the Honorable Minister to take the stand. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and to the learners in the House, and the educators and the principal. Thank you for joining us in one of the best, well-run, functional parliaments in South Africa. Honorable Speaker, in terms of this interpellation from Honorable Member Makamba Botja, she is fully aware that it is the function and the responsibility of the national government and the Minister of the Department of Land Reform and Agriculture and Rural Development to allocate land for black farmers. Honorable Speaker, we also know that the government is failing black people in this province because they are not allocating land to black people. I have looked at the budget of the national government for land reform in this province. Honorable Speaker, you cannot do proper land reform when your local national department based in this province for land reform has only a budget of 20 million rand. You can absolutely do no land reform. If you want to show me your policy, show me your budget. No budget, no policy. It's absolutely a disgrace that this ANC government is neglecting black people in South Africa. In fact, and when a black person gets a farm, he gets evicted by the black national ANC government. This is what they are doing. So they have absolutely total disrespect for black farmers. They do not allocate land, and if they do allocate land, Honorable Speaker, they do allocate the land to their own comrades, MKB veterans, and we have stopped it. They will not we will not allow ANC to abuse people in this province.
Take your seat. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. There is a member on the floor, and that is Honorable Lily, would like to ask a question.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Now, my question to the minister is that is he going to?
Is that I thought you wanted to raise a point of order.
This,
Let me
too much loud
order, honorable
speaking.
members, honorable minister, honorable members. How long have we not been seeing each other? It seems we've missed each other so much. You know what you must do, because I see that we've missed each other. When we arrive, you must give a moment for hugs and kisses. Then it's not gonna be like this. Because Honorable Lily rises on no point for support whatsoever. But he just wanted to be noticed by the Honorable Minister. So Honorable Minister, please proceed.
I miss Honourable Member Baku Baku Vos. I declare my love for her. Honourable Deputy Speaker, Honourable Speaker, in this House we love each other. That's why we have this debate. You mustn't think there's hatred in this House. It is because of love that we differ, different viewpoints, but we don't hate each other. Honourable Speaker, there's something fundamentally wrong in South Africa. And this is that land reform has no budget. Your policies is measured against your budget. And when the ruling party is allocating land to, my budget is extensive. My budget is extensive. In fact, we have done a study, Honourable Speaker, we have looked at land reform in South Africa. In the ANC national government, 90% failure, only 10% success. In the Western Cape, 72% success. That's the difference in terms of land reform. And I am proud of what this government is doing, but I'm not going to sit here and allow the ANC to steal the land and allocate it to MK soldiers. I'm not going to sit here with ANC former members of parliament be allocated land. It's not going to happen under my watch. I will stop it. I have stopped it already here in Malmesbury. So the point is very clear, Honourable Speaker. I am very clear. ANC is failing on land reform. The DA is making a big success in terms of land reform.
Thank you, Minister. Order, honourable members. Honourable members, order. I now afford the opportunity to Honourable Makamba Boja. Mangob.
Nkosi Somlomo, thank you very much, Speaker, and thanks to the Honourable Minister. I was prepared for the response from the Minister because every time when we ask about land transformation, we are always told that the province has no powers and that its hands are tied. And even now, the Minister just made mention that this is the function of and the responsibility of the national government. However, Honourable Speaker, on Schedule 4 of the South African Constitution provides a functional area of concurrent national and legislative competence. Agriculture is one sector that falls under this concurrent competence of both national and provincial government. Moreover, Section 40 of the Constitution provides for cooperative governance, while Section 41 makes it mandatory that various spheres of government must assist and support one another. Furthermore, these spheres are mandated to consult and inform one another on matters of common interest. Honourable Speaker, these provisions I just mentioned above provide avenues for the national government and the Department of the Minister to work together in making sure that the agricultural sector in this province is transformed. So if this department had even the slightest interest in transforming the agricultural sector in this province to provide agricultural land to emerging Black farmers, you will be engaging the national government minister from time to time for that purpose. This thing of thinking that Western Cape does not need the national government and can be independent on its own should come to an end, because it's not on. In 2018, Honorable Speaker, national government established an agricultural state land allocation project. Under this project, instructions were issued for the establishment of vacant and underutilized farms. Provinces were also engaged in this project to assist in identifying vacant and underutilized farms so that provisions can be made for those farms to either be leased or acquired for purposes of redistribution or turning them into productive use. One of the reasons why the provinces were engaged in this project, Honorable Speaker, was because they knew their surroundings better, and this was also an opportunity for them to work together with the national government on what one would expect to be a matter of common interest. Whilst generally there was cooperation under this project by the majority of provinces, some provinces were not really cooperative. For an example, when it came to the issue of identifying underutilized farms and to check whether there were any agricultural activities going on, some agricultural provincial departments just came back with the response that farms are occupied. The question that was never whether the farms were occupied or not, it was whether they've utilized or underutilized. Now, because of this difficulty and lack of cooperation, this forced the national government to initiate the land rights inquiry process, which now caused further delays. Now, Somlomo, lastly, I just want to know whether was there any initiative that the minister has made engagement with the national government to specify specifically to make sure that there is transformation in the Western Cape agricultural sector. Thank you. Thank you, Somlomo.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now recognize Honorable Van der Westhuizen. Akbare. Akbare Van der Westhuizen, is hij daar? Honorable the Deputy Chief Whip of the DA.
Chairperson, my suspicion is Member van der Westhuizen is also in the NCOP at the exact same time on a debate on land reform, but I will liaise with the table staff in this regard.
Thank you, Honorable the Acting Chief Whip of the Majority Party. May I then, at this point, request Honorable Maran to address the House.
Thanks, Speaker, and good afternoon, everyone present. Speaker, it is no secret that agriculture and agro-processing sectors are part of the key economic sectors of the Western Cape, with an 8% contribution towards the province economy, as per the latest parallel. But we must also examine the details, where the devil is, and inquire who dominates these sectors. Statistics provided by South African Institute of Race Relations in 2018 illustrate that nearly 71% of urban land belongs to whites. Nearly 11% is owned by coloreds, while 8% is owned by Indians, and Africans owning only 3.5% of land in the Western Cape. The Western Cape government, unfortunately, once again throws hands up in the air and shows that this responsibility, making land available, lies with national government. When MEC Meyer was asked the question about racial patterns in title deeds, he and his department referred the ANC to the National Deeds Office. According to the 2021 Western Cape Agriculture Sector Profile, the total value of agricultural exports in 2020 was 45.8 billion. And yet, this MEC cannot account how much the black farmers contributed to these figures. The MEC and his department do not find such data important, and yet the Premier always insisting on data and being scientific. So as we have heard, the MEC does not provide such data, and therefore he and his department pay lip service to the sustainability, agriculture and aquaculture sectors. Hence, there was an instruction that the Casidra notice, and it was an instruction by MEC Meyer, that the Casidra notice advertising funding for African, colored and Indian farmers during COVID-19, and funding provided by national government be withdrawn, because the MEC insisted whites must be included. In some areas, though, The provincial government does not throw its hands up in the air. As you all know, police is not a provincial function. And yet this government
Maran,
can...
ek is baie jammer. Jou tyd is weg, meneer. There's no more time.
Speaker, is the 2 minutes?
Yes. I see you didn't see that it is 2. It's not 3 because 3 minutes is for the member who asked the question.
Cannot be.
Thank you, Honorable Maran. Yes. I even gave you 2 seconds extra. Honorable members, order. Order, honorable members. Honorable the Acting Chief Whip.
Thank you, Speaker. Due to the toggling between the NCOP and the WCPP, the delegate is here. I wanted to ask if it's possible for Member van der Westhuizen to take the slot after Member Moran.
Thank you. Order, honorable members. Honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. I now afford the opportunity to Honorable van der Westhuizen.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and my apologies for having to run between these two houses. In 1971, the Sectional Titles Act ushered in a new era in home ownership in South Africa. The Act provided for the division of buildings into sections. Is the declaration?
Order, Honorable van der Westhuizen.
My apology.
Order, honorable members. Honorable van der Westhuizen, do you have the speech for this one?
My apologies, Speaker. My apologies.
Yes, okay, you may proceed.
I would like to ask...
Order, honorable members. Excuse me, Honorable van der Westhuizen. Honorable members, we all have those moments. There was once a member who read a motion of a different motion on a wrong motion. I forgave that member from some other side, on the other side of the house. So let me give the opportunity when the honorable member from the other side does the same thing. Please, Honorable van der Westhuizen, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The debate this afternoon in the NCOP is on land reform. And I'm very proud to say that in the Western Cape, we have a much higher success rate in terms of land reform than in the remainder of the country. 2 studies done in 2014 and in 2019 showed that the Western Cape was making good progress with our success rate in the land reform sphere improving from 64% success to 72% success. Mr. Minister, I would like to know from you, what are, in your mind, the reasons why the Western Cape has got this much higher success rate in this regard? Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Honorable van der Westhuizen. Order, honorable members. I now order, honorable members. There is a couple of other interpellations and there's questions and there's still a lot more in terms of our business for the day. I can assure you there will be ample time to interface. May I now give an opportunity to Honorable Makamba Poja.
Solomon, thank you very much. I so wish I could see the report that has been declared that Western Cape has the highest success rate in land distribution. But my follow-up question, Solomon, it's pertaining to the session during the question and answer session that was held in 2020, 21, 2022 annual reports on agriculture. There was a concern raised that some suitable agricultural land in the province is being utilized for other purposes other than the agriculture. For example, such as for the provision of housing and other developments. Now, focusing on part of this land, which might be owned by either national, provincial, or local government, what has this department done to make sure that this land is acquired by the provincial government and then utilized for purposes of farming that will benefit emerging Black farmers or those Black people who are interested to acquiring farms, either by owning them or leasing them? In this case, the role of the Provincial Department of Agriculture will not be to buy the land using its own budget, but to play a facilitating role between the provincial government and another sphere of government owning that land in order to make sure that this land ends up being owned by the province. The land can later be transferred to the Department of Agriculture by the province for the purpose of land transformation. Now the question, Somlom, is that by now we know that the Department of Agriculture in this province spends millions of rands supporting farmers and farms through various activities such as making water availability, further support, as well as through conditional grants of various nature. The department also acknowledged that there is now a high dependence on grant funding from farmers. Now, since we know that Black farmers in this province represent a tiny percentage of those who own farms in this province, then this means that the bulk of this support goes to the majority of farmers who happen to be white. And since this is a government support, this means that this money assisting these white farmers comes from the taxpayers' money. So the question that I have, Somlomo, as the Minister of Agriculture in this province, are you happy, Minister, that the majority of resources of this country through national conditional grants and those allocated to this department are spent on the rich white minority group farmers, farm owners, and not on the poor majority groups? Thank you, Chair.
Nkosi Manxuba, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for those who took part in this interpellation. I think Honourable Member Bakambia Botia will appreciate that this Parliament respect the rule of law and that the outcomes of the judiciary, this Parliament believes in redress and transformation in agriculture is our business, it's my business, it's my agenda. We also appreciate that the previous court ruling made by the High Court indicated that the Western Cape, in the case of correctional services, that the Western Cape demographics must be taken into consideration and not the national demographics. Honourable Speaker, in terms of grant funding, I think it is incorrect from the member to say that transformation for Black farmers only is dependent on grant funding. It is incorrect, Honourable Member.
Order, Honourable Minister, will you kindly take your seat? Is that a point of order, Honourable the Deputy Chief Whip of the ANC?
Honourable Speaker, it's a question. I would like to know if Honourable
No.
MEC.
No.
It's not a point of order.
Honourable Said, please take your seat. As a matter of fact, sorry, Honourable Minister, please take your seat, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, will
I'll
you please
take a question during tea time.
Honourable Minister, please take your seat. What I would like to address with the honourable members, I'm seeing there's a trend, but let us stop this trend so that it does not become a custom in the House. There is always an opportunity, and I guess it's a temptation when you rise, you want to ask that question. But what it does is that you will be sitting here and people will do that. So let us do it differently. You rise, fortunately, you are the Deputy Chief Whip, Honourable Said, so you will help me to implement the rules. Let us make sure that when you rise, before you say anything, there's an opportunity that has been granted by the other side to ask that question, which is the member that is on the floor. I know that you do know that, and all of us do, but I want to avoid us having a situation where it just becomes a custom. I think I'm noticing from time to time it happens from the House. Honourable Minister, we paused your time, so you may proceed. Let me just bring it to your attention. You have used 1 minute. Now you've got 3 minutes to go.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I think it is important to note that the Honourable Member is correct. We cannot simply rely on grant funding to facilitate land reform in Western Cape, but anywhere in South Africa. That's why I welcome the initiative by Hortfin. And last week I attended a function where Hortfin, supported by Hortgrow, the industry, as well as by FNB Bank, as well as by the National Treasury through the Jobs Fund. They have made substantive amount of money, together with my department, money available to fast track and support land reform through proper mentoring, through proper partnership. I'm also very happy that the national minister has now publicly acknowledged the role that is being played by PELS, which is a very effective partnership in agriculture land solutions. It is now a national model developed in Witzenberg, and we support them as well. They're doing outstanding work. In addition to that, honourable members, and to the learners in the House and those online, my department is right now busy with a program to develop 50 black commercial farmers, because I want export farmers. I want big farmers. And so for me, it is important that we understand that commercial farmers are
Honorable
important.
Minister, will you please take your seat? I'm again going to pause this. Akbar Mare, is that a point of order, Mania?
I just want to
Will you please
clarify.
press your,
Will the
press your
minister
microphone?
answer a question on what he just said about black farmers?
Thank you, Honorable Mare. I see your microphone was off. Okay. Thank you. Honorable Minister, will you take the question? You see, what I was trying to achieve here, the same thing that I've just addressed, Honorable Mare rises. He doesn't ask whether he can ask the question. He asked the question. Now, I want to assist the honorable members so that we do not make this a custom, Akbar Mare. Now, you've already asked the question, but ordinarily you ask whether you can ask the question. That is what the rules. Now, if the honorable members want to change the rules, I'm happy, but then let us change the rules to say that. I'm trying to assist the House because you've elected me as your speaker. You have not removed me yet. So let us please don't tamper with the rules. The rules are clear. The rules are clear. Don't tamper with the rules, right? Now I'm going to ask the minister, honorable minister, would you like to respond to that question?
Honourable Speaker, out of respect for the senior member of the House, I will take the question.
I thank you, Minister, the gentleman you are. You said that you mentioned black farmers. Now, there's some people who say we are all black just because we're not white. Well, I'm not black. I'm a colored man, a Griqua. I want to know, can you tell me how much of that land that you said was given to blacks actually were given to colored, or whether it's Namakwa, or whether it's Koringwa, or whether it's Khoi? He's not black, he's brown-skinned. How much of the land went to brown-skinned people?
Honorable Minister.
If you don't know brown-skinned, you're not from South Africa.
Honorable Mare, thank you. Honorable Minister.
Honourable Speaker, this is an interpellation. I take that as a new question. I'm happy to come to the House and to the committee to give that statistical detail. But, Honourable Member, I am particularly happy that the program of black commercial farmers in the Western Cape is on track. I'm equally very happy, Honourable Speaker, that the question that was asked by Honourable Member Makambia Botia about the report, that report is available on the website, so she can study the report on the website.
Honourable Minister, there is another hand. Please take your seat. Honourable, the Deputy Chief Whip of the ANC.
Chair, I'm rising on a point of order. Just that that was not a new question. It's part and parcel of the topic of discussion from Member Mare. Thank
you. Honourable members, please take your seat, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, you may please take your seat. Let me, this is so nice. Honourable members, the point that Honourable Said is making is correct. But what is also important and correct is what the Minister said, that he, as part of the question that he's responding to and prepared for, that is a new dimension which he will deal with post this matter as discussed today. So it's not a matter of saying we're not dealing with agriculture, but it says the specificity is what he will come back to us, and it's recorded in Hansard so that the Honorable Minister responds to Akbar Mare. Can we then proceed on those bases?
Honorable Speaker, the
Honorable
sponsor.
Minister, please take your seat again. Uthini ngokufaka?
No, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just want to understand you better. Are we getting a sense that he will then submit a reply to that? Because the understanding I'm getting from him is that we'll come back some other time in the House. Now, there's a question that has been asked, and I understand because of the detail that is required, that he will come back. Is what we are given that the minister will come back and give us a written reply or perhaps to that question?
Thank you, Honorable Kama. Order, honorable members. There's one speaker here. Honorable Lily, Honorable Maran, there's one speaker here. Now, what I'm saying, which I've intimated upon, is that the Honorable Minister has made an undertaking in this House, not in a smuggler somewhere. So what is important is that because Hansard is recorded, right? So the minister has a responsibility to report to this House on what he made commitment on. So that goes without saying that the Honorable Minister says he will do that, and he's nodding, saying yes. Now, Honorable Minister, you may proceed.
Speaker, the sponsor of this debate.
We have now about 13 seconds to conclude.
The sponsor of this debate asked for the reports for these land reform success evaluations. The reports are available on the website of this government and my department, and she can read the report that confirms the relevance of the success of our land reform. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Order, honorable members, that concludes the first interpellation. The order is that you went over the 13 seconds.
Without
Order,
any
honorable members, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Speaker, my next speech will be 13 seconds shorter.
Order, honorable members, we're now moving to the second interpellation by the Honorable Kama to the Honorable Minister Allen, the Minister of Police Oversight and Community Safety. I now recognize the Honorable Minister.
Ow. Good afternoon, Speaker. Good afternoon to all the learners that are here. I feel that I want to apologize in advance that if you hear anything from the other side of the House today that seems irrational, I want to apologize for that. Deputy Speaker.
Order, members, order. Okay, honourable members, Minister, if you can just, honourable members, if you can just, Minister, if you can just take your seat. Just take your seat. Honourable members, I've just sat down, so I've not seen whose hand is up first. Can I see, honourable members, 1 minute. Order. Order. I recognize your hand. I recognize your hand. I'm going to allow Honourable Said to come up first. Then I will recognize you, and then I will recognize you in that order. Honourable members, order, please. Can I just hear what you want to say? Order, members.
Honourable Deputy Speaker,
Yes.
thank you very much and welcome to the sitting.
Thank you.
Just on a slight point of order to my honourable friend, Honourable Allen, he's addressing the learners. Learners are members of the gallery. Not supposed to speak to the members of the gallery. He speaks to them through the one who's chairing the sitting. Thank you.
May I remind the Minister? Over to you, Honourable Murray. Order, members.
He's setting a precedent. Now, I know some people are very, very excited when they have an audience in this House. But to address the audience directly, it's going to start a train of events here, because I'll bring all the Freedom Front people there and allow them to answer questions.
Order, members. Honorable Bosman, over to you.
Good afternoon, Honourable Speaker. I rise on Rule 40, and I'd like to call Honourable Murray, Honourable Syed, and Honourable Lilly to order. They may not interrupt a member while he's in the floor. I know Member Lilly spends more time in courtrooms, Member Murray spends more time at public meetings, and Member Syed is auditioning. But please, Honourable Deputy Speaker, I ask that you call them to order.
Okay, honorable members, order. Honorable Lilly, Honorable Moran, if you can just sit down for a second, Minister. Honorable Lilly. Okay. Honorable members, it does seem unusually loud today. If I can ask that we allow the Minister to start this interpellation, otherwise we're going to be here till 8 o'clock at night. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand and then I will recognize you. Can I, Honorable Moran, are you speaking?
Speaker, no speaker. The speaker asked us to turn up the volume.
I didn't recall him saying that.
Just because you were saying that we are a bit loud.
Okay.
The speaker asked us to turn up the volume.
I hear what you're saying. If I can now proceed to the formal sitting, if I may. Honorable members, over to you, Minister. You may begin.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, please allow me to apologize for speaking directly to participants in the gallery. Deputy Speaker, however, I will not apologize for spewing the following facts, because this interpellation, I would want the residents of the Western Cape to be fully aware. The interpellation indicated what contributed to the 7.3% increase in serious crimes reported in the province.
Order.
Now, Deputy Speaker, let me not apologize for this answer, because sadly, the question came from Member Kama, who is no longer the permanent member on community safety. And if the permanent member of community safety were to have informed Member Kama with regard to an NCOP briefing, Member Kama would have been aware that the 7.3% increase in crime categories that we have seen in our province is a direct result of national government's failure to adequately resource the South African Police Service. Deputy Speaker, we live in a world where the South African Police Service, have indicated 2 weeks ago that the ideal amount of officers, what we need is 193,000. I'm going to repeat again, 193,000 members are needed at station levels across our country. We currently only have 105,000. In 2010, the ideal number, what we needed in 2010 was 156,000. 2010. We had 126,000 members in 26. So from 2010. So from 2010 up until now, there's been a reduction in SAPS members, but even more so, the need has gone up. So this increase in crime is a direct result because SAPS is at a national level. SAPS is managed by the national government. The problems in our country, when we consider our learners that are here today, Deputy Speaker, when they have issues with regard to Home Affairs, getting an ID, Home Affairs is a national competency. We always hear of the issues in Home Affairs. South African Police Service, all national competencies run by the national government seems to be run into the ground. So let me answer the question even more directly. It is a direct result, through you, Deputy Speaker, to Member Kama. The increase is a direct result because due to a failure of fiscal choices that were made by national government, wide-scale corruption and looting. We are 20 years behind in the fight against crime as a result of national government.
Order.
But there are even more reasons for the increase. So besides national government's failure and our country being 20 years behind in the fight against crime, and that's why people are dying, and that's
Order,
why people are
members.
dying,
Honourable members.
because our province has been clear, Deputy Speaker. Even I would beg the ANC in the Western Cape, give the management and the powers of the South African Police Service to a capable government. It makes sense that SAPS is controlled closer to the people and choices is not made 1,500 kilometers away. But we have
Minister.
seen,
Your time is unfortunately
but
up.
we have seen the successes. We have seen the successes, Deputy Speaker, in that we live in a province. We live in a province
Honourable Allen, your time
where
is up.
we have deployed LEAP officers.
Thanks, Honourable Allen.
Die waarheid maak seën, nou skree hulle. En daar's 'n gesegde. Laat ek
Honourable
nie die
Minister, your
gesegde
time
sê
is
nie.
up. Thank you very much. I now call on Honourable Kama. Honourable Kama, I certainly hope that it won't be as noisy for you. You may go. Carry on.
No, thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. This is really painful. The Western Cape government's response to the 2022-23 first quarter crime statistics is both disingenuous and misleading. While we acknowledge that the great strides have been made in fighting crime and commend SAPS and its partners, including the department itself, but we must quickly point out that there is nothing in the stats that suggests the need to devolve policing powers. This is just a DA campaign that has been long coming. It has nothing to do with the stats. If anything, that this stats shines the spotlight on the provincial government's failure, including not implementing fully the recommendations of the multi-million rand Zille Commission, as well as the poor implementation of the Windy Safety Plan. Many of the masterminds.
Honourable Member, if you can just take your seat. Honourable Minister, what's your point of order?
Honourable Deputy Speaker, I'm rising on...
Honourable Moran, we've got someone standing up.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, Honourable Kama is misleading the House. There is no such thing as the Zille Commission. So if you can please refer to the correct name.
Honourable Kama, I can't rule on that here, but can I just, Honourable Minister, Minister, I understand, but you are welcome to mention that in your statements. Honourable Kama, Honourable members, can I just ask you caution to what you will put here that will be in Hansard, okay? Please. Honourable members, I trust that we can move on. Honourable Kama, you may proceed.
No, there is a Zille Commission.
No, Honourable Kama, please take caution. Thank you.
So Deputy Speaker, many of the masterminds behind serious crimes like cash in transit and extortion-related multiple murders in the province are graduates of the Vura and Vato gangs that terrorized the Cape Flats between 2012 and 2015. And that report that Zille commissioned, it did speak about this and it was not implemented. This provincial government's refusal to implement recommendation 12 of the Zille Commission has resulted in the 7.3 increase on the 17 community reported serious crimes. It has resulted in murders of 994 people in the first quarter of 2022. It has resulted in a 2% increase compared to the same period last year, as well as in 1,115 rape cases. Of the total 176 gangs in the country, 161 are from the Western Cape. The Western Cape has 10 stations in the top 30 murder precincts.
Honourable Member, please
More
take your
concerning
seat.
is the rise in the murder rate in Nyanga and Lingeletu West Police
Honourable
Station.
Kama, please take your seat. Over to you, Chief Whip. Acting Chief Whip, what's your point of order?
Chair, in terms of Rule 40 and 42, I know that the member Lily hasn't necessarily been in the House on committee meetings for long, but I'm trying
Order,
to listen
members.
to Member Karma.
No.
I can't hear Member Karma, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable members, Honourable Lily, you can't come in here and disrupt the House. I have someone standing. We need to provide, if somebody stands from either side, we have to listen to them. Now, I didn't hear a word that the Deputy Chief Whip was saying, so I would request that I be allowed to hear. Over to you, Deputy Chief Whip.
Deputy Speaker, I raised on Rule 40 and on Rule 42, dealing with both interruption and maintenance of order. I can't hear Member Karma when Member Lily is also speaking in between. I would like to know what Member Karma is saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Honourable members, I am going to use Rule 50, and Rule 50 basically states that in the event of grave disorder of a meeting. Now, I am cautioning, please, that we are allowed to debate in the way that we know how to debate so that everyone can be heard. I'm struggling to hear Honourable Karma myself. So if I can just ask for some caution on how to interject. Over to you, Honourable Dugmore.
Deputy Speaker, just as a point of order, I think, Deputy Speaker, you are aware that from our side as the ANC, we have requested that both the Speaker and yourself recuse yourself from these
Honourable
sessions.
Dugmore, please take your seat. That's not a point of order. Honourable Dugmore, please take your seat. That's not a point of order.
Honourable Rep,
Take your seat. It's not a point of order. This is in the middle of an interpellation. Honourable Karma is not able to complete his interpellation because he has been constantly disrupted. So it can be a choice, but we will disregard that because it has nothing to do with this interpellation. Honourable members, if this continues, I will have to adjourn the meeting until we have some order. Honourable Karma, would you like to proceed? You may proceed.
And lastly, just to show Deputy Speaker that the DA in the Western Cape is more concerned about politicking about crime. When Nyanga decreased in terms of statistics, they said it's because of them they put LEAP officers. We told them it's not. There is a stabilization intervention by SAPS that is happening in Nyanga. Now they decide that they are no longer going to fund CPFs. The operation in Nyanga was disrupted. And as a first time now, there's an increase in the murder in Nyanga. In Lingeletu, the increase is influenced by the environmental design that is happening. The police complain over and again that they do not have a conducive environment. And that can't be a responsibility of SAPS. It is a responsibility of this government. But this government does not care at all. What it cares about is to paint a picture that SAPS is failing so that they are given powers. The next thing they want to exit the country and be a country on their own.
Your time is
So
up.
they are politicking and they must take it
Thank
upon
you,
themselves
Honourable
that
Karma.
the death of the people, and especially the young kids in high schools, is in their hands as a government.
Thank you very much. I now recognize Honourable Bosman.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy Speaker, as the Commission of Inquiry into the inefficiency of SAPS in the Khayelitsha area found, that commission asked that the provincial government put together a policing priorities and needs document and submit that document to SAPS. What I'd like to know today from the Minister through you, Deputy Speaker, has there been any response from either the National Minister of Police, and there's been a few national ministers, has there been any response from the provincial commissioners? There's been more provincial commissioners than there's been spokespersons on community safety in this parliament. Has there been any response to that? Can the minister also perhaps highlight some of the successes of the LEAP program? The opposition tends to argue that the LEAP program and the safety plan doesn't work. But as Minister Taylor heard yesterday in the NCOP, Minister Taylor yesterday in the NCOP heard that the Western Cape actually has a safety plan because the ANC nationally does not have a plan. As the minister heard yesterday, we know certain members don't like safety in this province because they are lawless, but we will continue through you, Honourable Deputy Speaker, protect areas like Ward 39 in Nyanga, where most days the police, the first tires to be slashed is that of the police officers. So the spokesperson for cultural
Order.
affairs and sports of the ANC comes here today and tells us that we're not serious about safety. 400 million rand is enough to be serious. So, Deputy Speaker, through you, I'd like to know if the Minister can perhaps share some of the lessons learnt from the LEAP deployment, if the Minister can perhaps educate some of our young lions on how this program is working. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I now recognize Honorable August. Over to you, Honorable August.
Deputy Speaker, it's
No, wait,
sad.
just hang on one minute, please. Honorable Moran, are you accusing me? No, I've got 2 table staff and the time is well within. Well, put your own watch on. I take advice from the table staff in front of me. I can see the clock right in front of me. Thank you very much. You may proceed, Honorable August.
Deputy Speaker, it's sad to hear how we are politicking about children's fathers being murdered, women being raped, children are being murdered, and we're politicking around the ANC, the national government, the provincial government, yet people of the Western Cape are dying. That's the facts. And what I want to say is, and I want to urge the Minister, although not your jurisdiction, being a warden at Paulsmoor, go to Paulsmoor and see how our children are rotting in prisons. See how the communities are affected by the crime and the increase of 7.83%. See that whether it is police, whether it is LEAP, whether it is your enforcement, it does not matter, our people are dying. I want to ask you, your hotspots, does your department speak to social development, to education, to fix the social ills and our broken families in the Western Cape? We are bragging and bragging about LEAP, but we've got broken families in the Western Cape where our children are deregistered because they cannot attend school because their brothers are gangsters. That's what I want to hear. Do not educate me, Minister. I am well educated on this point. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. I now recognize Honorable Christians.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Speaker, I must agree with the Minister, and this is a fact, that the ANC has failed the people of this country, has failed this province when it comes to safety. That's a fact. And the ACDP will continue. The ACDP will continue to call for the devolution of powers to the province. That's a fact. I repeat, the ANC has failed us. But, Minister, the question I want to ask you is, that's why we have the safety plan. And the safety plan was introduced to mitigate the failure of the ANC government.
Honorable members, sit down, honorable member. Honorable members, order, please.
Honorable
Christians.
Deputy Speaker.
Honorable members. Honorable Barnes. Honorable members. Right, I'm going to adjourn this House now. This running commentary that's been going on, and now I'm standing under the rule. We cannot proceed any further like this. In fact...
But why are you standing?
Honorable Lily, will you stand up, please? Stand up.
Will you sit down, Deputy Speaker?
Stand
also?
up. Right. Right. Sit down, Honorable Moran. Sit down. Right, under Rule 50, I'm going to adjourn the House. Honorable Lily, there needs to be... Honorable members, this is embarrassing.
But why are you standing? Why are you not sitting, Deputy Speaker?
Under Rule 50, I'm going to adjourn the House for 10 minutes. I think we need to take a real look at the way we are behaving in front of people, and very much the youth who are the future of this country watching us carry on. Honourable members, if I have to name you again, you will have to leave. So the House will be adjourned for 10 minutes. Suspended for 10 minutes. Thank you. 1 minute 21. Thank you very much. You may proceed.
This is not here.
I think it's fine. Is the minister outside? I'll just check. All right, I have to take, okay. Thank you. Honourable, just remember we are streaming live. Okay, you may proceed, Honourable Christian.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, as I said, that the safety plan was introduced to mitigate the failure of the ANC. Now, saying all of that, Minister, allow me to emphasize that the streets of Cape Town is not safe. Firearms used to shoot and kill often are returned to those who kill further. So according to the crime stats, you know, when you look at it and you look at murder, for instance, that murder 10 of the 20 stations is located in the Western Cape. And that is unacceptable. So I know, and the question, Minister, is, you know, knowing the failure of the ANC, we can blame them, but the Western Cape has decided to do something. So can you give us, you know, why is Delft, if you look at contact crimes, Delft is #1 in the entire country. If you look at Delft, it's unsafe. So we can say Nyanga is no longer the murder capital, but now we have Delft that is seriously dangerous to walk in Delft, and people are mugged and robbed every day. So, Minister, I want to conclude by saying we can blame the ANC and blame them. They are to blame. They are failing our people, but the Western Cape government will have to turn this around, and this crime statistics is unacceptable. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I now recognize Honourable Kama. Honourable members.
Oh, thank you, Deputy Speaker. I serve a God who wants me to be consistent with the truth. He will never allow me to come to the house and ask where is the safety plan and the next week say there's a safety plan. But the other point that we want to make as the ANC, Deputy Speaker, is that if this government says the 7.3 increase is as a result of police, then this government is saying the people of the Cape Flats and all these crime-ridden areas are born criminals. If really the situation is because there's a failure of SAPS, because there are causative factors that they are supposed to address. The crime statistics once again highlighted the contribution of liquor to crime. Minister Cele recently said that alcohol was involved in 749 murder cases and in the commission of 1,212 rape cases. Helen Zille spent millions on alcohol harms reduction white paper, which is just sitting around collecting dust. I have to ask the MEC and the Premier, when will the alcohol harms reduction white paper be turned into an act? What is causing the delays? It is the conflict of this government in the approach of addressing this issue. Because on the other hand, it is strangleholded by the white companies that are in charge of the liquor industry and trying to frustrate and act as if the problem is with the informal traders in the communities. Instead of usual unfair targeting and imposing of unjust fines to informal liquor traders, and while all of a sudden Pick n Pay's, ShopRite are opening liquor outlets in townships and even in fuel stations in the province. A good starting point is to engage these stores and grant the groups of liquor traders in the township franchises to take over the liquor stores in those townships. This government that prides itself on evidence-based decision-making, yet its implementation of the safety plan shows signs of a government that is not in sync with reality. The safety plan must make resources available to deal with sexual offenses and GBV as more women and children continue to be targeted. It must place more emphasis on environmental design as lack of CCTVs, poor lighting, and inaccessibility of various sections of murder hotspots impede policing. The legislature must get more oversight powers over the safety plan
to be able to hold government accountable for the millions that are currently going to waste. The safety plan must find ways to deal with the disturbing trend of kidnapping in the province. In closing, I wish to commend SAPS, its partners and other stakeholders for the sterling work they are doing. With a better implementation of safety plan, we can reduce crime levels to zero. We must encourage the MEC to consider all these suggestions and make the necessary amends. Crime is not a police responsibility only. It is a social responsibility.
Thank you.
In that safety plan they are talking about, it's written there, but they don't understand it. That's
you.
why it's not implemented. Thank you very much,
Thank
Deputy
you very
Speaker.
much. I now call on the Minister. Minister.
Deputy Speaker, thank you so much. I'm going to take my time in order to reply. I'm going to be as calm as I potentially can be, because inside, Deputy Speaker, if I listen to those that provided input, I'm saddened, because the Western Cape Safety Plan is a two-pronged approach. On the one side, law enforcement, because that is needed, it's a requirement. Every country in the world has a law enforcement component. On the other hand, we do know the violence prevention component. Where we are lacking? Hugely, because we are 20 years behind in terms of the law enforcement component. Together with corruption in the South African Police Service, together with national government entities. But let me go to the first one. Member Kama spoke about the Commission of Inquiry. Now, the Commission of Inquiry made a number of recommendations, and I know, Deputy Speaker, that Member Kama withdrew from the race to run as the leader in the province for the ANC Youth League. But let me say this in a very calm way. Member Kama is my friend.
Order, members.
Member Kama is my friend. Member Kama is my friend. So I know, Member Kama withdrew.
Over to you, Honourable
I'm getting
Said.
there. If you
take a seat, Minister. Honourable Said. Okay, Minister, you may continue.
So I consider Member Kama a friend. He has given solid input on the committee many a times. But let me read verbatim from the Matthew Goniwe branch. 2 days ago, the ANC Youth League said this. The ANC Youth League notes.
Order, members.
I'm getting there. He made inputs.
Honourable members, who's sitting in the chair? All right. Now you have to, the minister hasn't broken any rules. He's quoting. So you have to let him quote. Just 1 minute, Minister. I see that Honourable August's hand is up. Point of order.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Point of order, as you would want me to say. The response from the Minister. As I said earlier on, we are dying here. The ANC branch is irrelevant to the response he should give to us.
Okay.
So I'm asking Deputy Speaker if you can please ask the MEC to respond to the questions which is affecting the Western Cape. Thank you.
So, Honourable August, I'm sure the Minister is using his time to illustrate a point, I would imagine, and I'm going to let him do this so that he can actually get to his point. Over to you, Minister.
Deputy Speaker, Member August made input. In order to answer those questions and to adhere to the input that Member August made, that we need to take politics out of it, this is probably the most classic example of how we are able to highlight hypocrisy and take it out of this chamber. So the ANC Youth League said, notes with sadness once again the empty promises made by the National Minister of Police and the Commissioner regarding the Makaza and Khayelitsha area, because the Commission of Inquiry that Member Kama is speaking about, one of the recommendations were that Makaza needed to have a fully fledged substation. Okay. They go on to say, maybe and only maybe if Makaza had a full functioning police station, maybe Tandiswa would have been alive. So we know we need that. We need that. In this house, certain stuff was.
Honorable Bimbi, do you want to still raise your point of order? Honorable Minister, if you can take your seat.
So, no, I would withdraw.
Okay, it's fine. You may proceed, Honorable Minister.
He's done. So
order.
So here we have a number of words that are spewed in this house, and it's not factual, it's hypocrisy. With regard to Member Bosman, thank you so much. I can confirm on the record that each year since 2014, we have submitted our policing needs and priorities report, a constitutionally mandated process. And up until today, we have seen little to no implementation of the policing needs and priorities here in our province, which is another example on why we are calling for devolution. And in support of the comments made by Member Christians, it makes sense because our needs and priorities are not taken into account here. Some of those successes are that when our country is seeing an increase in murder of 21% across our country, where LEAP officers are deployed, we are seeing an 8.2% reduction. In Nyanga, and Member Kama saw the video of where Brigadier Nkata went on record to say that because of LEAP and all the other interventions, that joint cooperation, we saw a reduction in Nyanga. And then 4 months ago, Brigadier Nkata was shipped out of our province and he's now in the Eastern Cape. So we have seen when the lack of leadership and succession is in an area, it does affect crime in that particular
Minister,
area.
your time is almost up.
How much time do I have?
About 10 seconds.
All I want to say is that this debate is clear. That
Order.
All of this debate is very clear. That when you are trying to say something, people are still trying to speak and they are not respecting this house. But we will respect the citizens and we will do everything in our power to help and keep our communities safe.
Thank you very much, Minister. Order members, we're now moving over to interpellation 3. I now recognize, I'm just giving the Minister a few seconds. I now recognize Minister Allen.
Thank you so much, Deputy Speaker. Yes, Member August, thank you so much for this particular interpellation with regard to funding to combat crime in rural areas and within our province. I have visited a number of rural areas and we have already conducted 3 safety summits in rural areas. The next one is in mid-November, which is next week. And then the last one will be in the Central Karoo area, which will be in February next year. So we have made funding available to combat crime in the rural regions of our province, as well as in the urban regions to facilitate the capacitation and functioning of safety partners in line with the department's vision of safer and cohesive communities. Furthermore, the department has budgeted 3 million for this financial year to integrate safety and security technology in support of rural safety. The key safety partners that the department works with are neighborhood watchers, including our farm watchers, local government, including our district municipalities and community safety forums, together with our CPFs. Neighborhood watch structures perform important roles in community cohesion, which underpins safety cohesion. Therefore, the department, as part of its department community-based strategy, supports neighborhood watch structures as per Section 6 of the Western Cape Community Safety Act through the Neighborhood Watch Accreditation and Support Program. Accreditation provides the neighborhood watch structures with a governance framework to access the free training, funding, and resources. The department supports all accredited neighborhood watch structures throughout the province. In terms of the support to neighborhood watch structures in rural areas, I will provide this particular breakdown. The Garden Route, 290,000. Cape Winelands, 280,000. Overberg District, 120,000. The West Coast District, 30,000. The Central Karoo at this stage, 10,000, which is altogether 730,000 rand. The training we have provided is across the various districts, and I am on record, Deputy Speaker, to state that I would never want our rural areas to be regarded as the stepchild of the Western Cape, because we have seen because we have seen
Order, members.
because we have seen in the last quarterly crime stats, based on our analysis, that there is a 28% shift in crime patterns towards our rural areas, and we remain committed to do everything in our power to keep our rural areas safer. In terms of our oversight role, in terms of the
Honourable members, order please.
in terms of our approach, we have extended our oversight role over the South African Police Service because we have seen the lack of resourcing in our districts is chronically under pressure because we have at times one officer doing a VCP, a vehicle checkpoint. One officer, it's dangerous and it opens the room for corruption. I've gone to so many substations where there's one officer in the community service center, also against the SOP of SAPS. So we are pushing in that end to make sure that our rural areas are capacitated fully, and we are working closely with our local district municipalities to ensure that we have the K9 units, because we have seen a 27% drop in the sepsis K9 unit over the last 4 years. We have seen the reaction units, and we are working closely in the Swartland area, in the Overberg area, and we are expanding on that particular model to ensure that that our rural safeties areas are prioritized. We are making a point, and I will invite a member to also make sure that if she's able to attend our district safety summits, because it's where all stakeholders come together, and in line with the previous interpellation, in that the whole of government approach, whole of society approach, in that we need social development, education, cultural affairs and sport. Each and every department has a role in the safety plan, and that is cemented in our district safety plans as well.
Thank you very much. I now recognize Honourable August.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The law enforcement LEAP officers is only in the city of Cape Town. What about Drakenstein, Saldanha, George, and other municipalities? The communities are subjected to harsh realities of crime, and this government in turn focuses on hotspots only in the metro at the expense of rural Western Cape exists where broken families exist. Crime does not just exist in Cape Town only, but everywhere in the Western Cape. There exists a bolstering tendency from this government, and more specifically those occupy the position of MEC within the department, to play a pivotal role. They focus solely on public safety within the boundaries of the city of Cape Town at the expense of rural communities in other parts of the Western Cape. We've seen this tendency from the MEC's predecessor and now from him too. Billions are funneled from the government to the metro and funds the law enforcement LEAP, which places young men and women with little training in harsh conditions to stand against live ammunition in volatile crime hotspots, placing their own lives at risk. This is due to a careless government who's only interested in self-gratification. I note the establishment of law enforcement reaction units in the Overberg and Swartland district. The worrying factor is that these units are established not as a crime prevention solution, but more as to be activated after a crime was committed. Speaker, the billions pumped into the program such as LEAP has better potential to advance our provincial social net, which is a greater deterrent of crime as opposed to just locking up people. This becoming the only known way that the DA-led Western Cape government fight crime. Is there existing agreements between his department and the departments of social development, health, cultural affairs and sports, and economic opportunities and tourism to support rural communities in their fight against crime? If not, why not? How was the funding being utilized effectively to address crime in rural communities? I hear 730,000, Deputy Speaker, compared to the millions pumped into the city of Cape Town, so that we can have nice cars on the freeways to lock up our drivers. Are there any measures in place that works against the politicization of the neighborhood watch model by ward councillors and committees, knowing our neighborhood watch is DA members? All the neighborhood watch and walking bus is DA members. So how do we stop politicizing this? If not, why not? If so, kindly provide the relevant details. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. I now recognize Honourable Bosman.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy Speaker, many members of this House visited police stations in Kwanatukula, in Mossel Bay and in Plettenberg Bay during our last cluster visit. What we saw was disgusting and dismal. We called the National Police Commissioner, and he accepted our invitation, and he sat in this House and told us that SAPS police stations are managed by SAPS and by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure nationally. The state of these police stations, the inability of SAPS to report faults, and the inability of the National Minister of Public Works to even respond to some of those requests disgusted not just members of this committee, but also members of the community. In Kwanatukula, the police station is as small as a little shack where the station commissioner, the station commander, and the HR lady shares an office. You couldn't even report crime because it wasn't a safe space. Members of this House stand up here and grandstand after they tell us not to politic. So through you, Deputy Speaker, I'd like to ask the Minister, besides the high-tech Joint Operations Center that operates in the Mossel Bay municipality, what intervention, what support has come from any national government department to protect rural communities? What has the National Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure done? What has the National Minister of Police done to make sure that the safety plan is complemented? Noting through you, Deputy Speaker, that the Gauteng Premier has launched their own version of LEAP today. So please, through you, Deputy Speaker, Minister, please tell us whether the National Minister of Infrastructure has, through your department, Minister, engaged either the Provincial Department of Community Safety or our Provincial Minister of Infrastructure, or whether any response to the many letters that the National Commissioner of Police has written to that DG has been responded to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I recognize Honourable Barnes.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I'm sure our rural communities, as they are watching us now, they really feel the neglect that this province is doing to them. Because the question at hand is how much is being funded for them and how are they being accommodated. I was listening earlier to the minister when he was reading out the amounts that were given to the other districts. It's actually a shame, it's a scandal. But nevertheless, I'm not going to go in there. In September 2019, a week after announcement of the safety plan by the Premier, the Mail and Guardian published an article titled "Women Harvest Fruits of Abuse in the Rural Western Cape," detailing horrific stories of violence against women on farms and in farming towns. 3 years down the line, women in the rural Western Cape continue harvesting the fruits of abuse and violence in the province. On one example is a 58-year-old farmer that was arrested and charged for allegedly kidnapping and raping a 14-year-old girl near rural town of Claver. Despite these horrific stories of violent crimes outside the metro, the safety plan still prioritizes only Cape Town. At this time, are we still serious? This department's resources are concentrated on the city of the detriment of the rural safety. The safety plan must not be reduced to City of Cape Town plan. Public resources must be spent in a fair and equitable manner. The favoritism towards the City of Cape Town for
Let's go to the House.
Programs.
1 minute.
They need to be relieved. They're asking us to relieve them. Where's Boche?
That's Mr.
He needs
Semena.
to
That's
join
Mr.
us. Join me in the House.
If you can please urgently ask Mr. Mgita to. Yeah, thank you very much. That's been muted. My apologies. You may proceed. Honourable Barnes.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The favoritism towards
Order.
the City of Cape Town for almost all of these department-funded programs, including funding of accredited neighborhood watches, the Chrysalis academic recruitments and leave officers is wrong, and they must come to an end to it. I'm sure that Minister Mitchell will agree with me that it's very bad that today in Beaufort West, trucks are not passing there anymore to stop because of crime. That must be addressed. Of the Department 11 conditional grants, 3 of these, including hundreds of millions spent in recruitment, training, and deployment of law enforcement officers, go to the City of Cape Town. It's wrong. The rural towns only get 7.2 million for K9 dogs and 8.5 million for the establishment of reaction units, Swartland and Overstrand municipality. An additional of
Finish off, member.
9.3 million is sent to 4 municipalities for the safety plan implementation. Whole of society approach is a wrong and must be condemned. We demand more safety resources to be sent to rural regions. Deputy Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Barnes. I now recognise Honourable Christians.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, the solution is simple. The ANC must be voted out in 2024. Solution is in the people's
Order.
hands.
Members, order.
Deputy Speaker, 47% of known drug houses is in the rural areas.
Order.
47% of the drug houses is
Order,
in
members. Honourable Christians, if you can just carry your voice. Honourable members, every time Honourable Christian stands up, he doesn't have a chance to even be heard. Can I please ask? Yeah, but we have to respect all parties here. Thank you. Honourable Christians. Honourable Karma, give him a second.
Yeah, Deputy Speaker, as I said, 47% of the known drug houses is in the rural areas. So it means that more drugs is going to the rural areas. And if people sit in the Committee of Community Safety, they'll know that I've asked the rollout of K9 units because that will hamper the rollout of drugs in our rural areas. So gangsters has now seen that Greyton, Granatendal, and those places are soft targets. I want to know from the Minister, is he talking to the police in order, because according to our statistics, police know where the drug houses are. What is done in order to get rid of these drug houses? But as I say, Deputy Speaker, in closing, I need to say the solution is 2024 to get rid of the ANC.
DA out.
That is
Take
the
the
solution.
DA
I
out.
thank you.
Thank you very much. I now recognise honourable members' order. Honourable Lily, you need to face me. Can I ask that Honourable August be allowed to respond?
Deputy Speaker, thank you.
Honourable Windvogel, please.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The question to the Minister was the following: whether his department has made funding available to combat crime in the rural regions of this province. When the white farmer is murdered, his family is crying. When a child on the farm is raped, that family is crying. So where Honourable Bosman comes about infrastructure at the police station, hulle moet lees wat ons vra. They must read what we are asking and respond to that. What we're also asking is that the Minister does not, when he responds, come and joke, because this is serious. South Africa and the Western Cape is watching us when we are going to respond. And the previous question, he only had 10 seconds to respond to constructive debate, and he didn't respond to it. Chairperson or Speaker, 730,000, 28% hike in rural crime. Surely we cannot have 3 summits now. You in government for how many years? How can we have 3 summits now? I was not in the province. And I don't have a ministerial budget. So I ask that the Minister please respond to what plans are in place for the next 3 years to combat the rural crime issues. We don't want to hear about the ANC, Honourable ACDP. We don't want to hear about the ANC. We don't want to hear about police stations that one member is sitting in there.
Order.
We don't want to hear about the buildings falling apart. We want to hear what is the DA's plans for the rural crime in the Western Cape. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, can I allow the Minister to respond? Honourable Lily, can we have the Minister respond?
I'm going to say this once, that if any person in this house would say I'm joking, Deputy Speaker, when I joke, they would damn know I joked. Because it would be something that they won't be able to sit like this. That particular narrative is old. It is a narrative that
Order.
is being spewed, and then you keep talking.
Honourable members,
So,
point your finger back at you. Honourable Minister,
So-
don't point.
so here we go.
Minister, if you can take your seat,
When
please.
we talk about the 3 summits,
Minister, take your seat, please. I first saw the chief. I've first seen the chief. Honourable Lily, have you forgotten all the rules? I can send you a copy. I'm first going to allow the chief, the assistant. I understand, and then I'm going to allow the deputy chief whip. The chief whip. I'm going to just call you the chief whip because it's just so complicated. And then I'm going to ask Honourable Sayed. So, acting chief whip, you may proceed.
Chair, I'm standing again on 40 and 42, and I'm tempted to stand on 50 as well. But we would like to hear the Minister respond to the questions and to the interpellation matters raised by members of the opposition. And I do not recall there being a rule that says one cannot point. But I would like to listen to the Minister. So in terms of 40, 42, and hopefully not 50, I ask that we please continue with this.
Thank you very much. Honourable Sayed, I recognise you.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I think for the sake of progress as well, I think we need to ensure that the executive as well are also urged to respond to the questions and not to be sidetracked and get into other issues. We are here to exercise oversight, and at the same time, I think on both sides of the House, at least if there are elements, and I know that it was, there was a rule quoted, Rule 40 about issues of members being interrupted. Now, what I'm seeing is members are not necessarily being interrupted. There's heckling happening, but the heckling must not reach a point of interruption. I understand that, but there is heckling taking place. The executive ought to also, that's why we've got mics as well. Raise the voice, but also let's stick to the topic at hand and not get sidetracked, because that's going to then, that's going to ensure that we are going to stand here until 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Sayed. I would now allow Honourable Lily. Honourable Lily, Honourable Sayed has just outlined what he'd like us to all do. So once the Minister stands up, if we can just allow him to respond, and I'll ask the Minister to practice caution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Speaker. Just how much time do I have?
I'm going to give you, I've got 3 minutes, 29 seconds.
It takes roughly 2 minutes to get through one
Honourable
particular
Lily.
page. I am going to make this entire reply available, because not even in 8 minutes, this reply will not be read out. So I will.
Honourable, you said immediately. Would you like the reply immediately? You may stand up, Honourable Sayed. Honourable Minister.
Honourable Chair, I hope the member of the executive realizes that this explanation is also cutting into his time. He must get to the point.
Thank you very much. We can't control everything. Remember, this is an interpellation. This is a debate. Minister, you do have freedom of speech here within the rules. So you may proceed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Deputy
much.
Speaker, I'm going to say again that in terms of rural safety, our province and the Western Cape government is fully aware that we are taking rural safety extremely serious. So I've been here a little over 6 months. We have interacted with a number of all the districts. And within this 6 months, I have already established solid working relationships across our districts. So to arrange all the summits within a period of 7 months is actually something that should be commended. I've come in and I've actually spent more time during this last 2 weeks outside of the city of Cape Town. Outside of the city of Cape Town, because the benefit that we are reaping from that summit is directly linked to crime prevention. So when a member states that we need to be proactive and not reactive, the K9 units is exactly that. It is proactive. It is to make sure that in the vehicle checkpoints that we are confiscating abalone, We are confiscating weapons. We are confiscating drugs. And on a monthly basis, I release that information to the public based on the successes. And that particular statements are each and every month on the successes. And those are drugs that could have landed up in our areas. Those are abalone that is directly linked to organized crime. So we are seeing the successes of that proactive approach. In terms of the comments that were made, yes, we are keeping SAPS accountable with regard to the shutting down and the closing of drug houses. Over the last 4 months, we have seen a drop in the amount of known drug houses, now to 118 which was closed. And we are proactively making sure that the recommendations of the police ombudsman is taken into account with regard to operations on closing those. So when it talks about the JOC, and this reply goes further with regard to the 35 million rand that has been spent. The 35 million rand that has been spent and will be spent is all towards rural safety. The work we do in the Garden Route with the JOC Center that Member Bosman mentioned is a clear intervention from this government. The work we do in the Overstrand, the work we do in the Swartland West Coast area, cross-boundary operations, is a result of a proactive government that has taken funding from other departments to put resources available due to the fact that there's under-resourcing in our lead agency. So we know that, Deputy Speaker. So this report and this particular answer, all 5 pages, will be made available, and I will request that members peruse and read it, and I will even encourage that Member August should join the Standing Committee on Community Safety. Because I have sent a letter, and to answer Member Bosman, I have also sent a letter to the National Minister of Public Works and a follow-up, and we have not received a reply in that regard, but we are obviously holding them accountable and continuing that engagement. But as far as I know, there has been no information. The National Minister of Public Works did not even rock up to our MINMEC the last time that she was invited.
Thank you very much. Honourable Murray.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise on a point of order with regards to point 38 and 39 that relates to no conversing allowed as well as no interruption. Member Lilly has interrupted and been conversing allowed throughout the Minister's reply, and he has consistently reiterated the point that people are dying. And the Minister has tried time and time again to explain what the Western Cape government is doing, and there has been no respect offered by the opposition.
Thank you very much. Honourable Said, what's your point of order?
Chairperson, that is not a point of order. That's not a point of order. What Member Lilly has been doing is heckling. It's not a point of order. Can we continue and get to the next item, please? Thank you.
Honourable Lilly, stand up. Honourable Lilly, if you talk to me, you must stand up.
There's no point.
I'm saying, Madam Speaker, they speak as they wish because you happen to be biased on them. And that is wrong.
Honourable Lilly, take a seat.
That is wrong, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Lilly, sit down.
Please, she must not speak as she wishes because she is in the ruling party. That is out of order.
Honourable Lilly, Honourable Lilly. Honourable Lilly, are you going to listen to us? Honourable Lilly, are you focused on the Honourable Member? Are you focused on me talking to me?
He is interrupting me while I'm talking. He's shouting.
Honourable Lilly, I've mentioned you 3 times. The 4th, you'll have to leave the House. Stand up so I can talk to you. That's what I've been trying to do. So
I'm being abused in this house.
Yes, can you just stop so I can actually stand up so I can respond? So, if you speak and address the chair, you must stand up according to the rules. If you all want to, that's fine, but I'd like to respond to Honourable Lilly's question. Honourable Moran?
Can I raise my hand or can I speak?
Well, clearly we can't respond, so you'll sit down. But what I am going to say, Honourable Lilly, you can't control your... Honourable Lilly, I'm mentioning you once now. If I mention you twice more, you will have to be escorted out. So I'm saying to you now, enough is enough. Your colleagues may stand up and play silly games, But we are here according to the
What do you
rules.
mean? Point of order.
So
Point
you
of
can sit
order.
down.
What is a silly game?
Speaker, Speaker,
You got all your hands up.
Speaker,
No, you can't shout.
Speaker,
Honorable Kondlo, I didn't recognize you, Honorable Kondlo.
Speaker.
Sit down, Honorable Kondlo. When your members have sat down, otherwise I can't recognize 20 people standing
But Speaker,
up.
why?
When your members have sat down. Oh, Doug, Honorable Doug Moore, get over yourself. Get over yourself. Honorable Doug Moore. Honorable Said, when your members have kept quiet, I will quite happily hear you out. When your members have kept quiet. Okay. Until your members are quiet, I will not be able to recognize you.
We're members of the House.
When your members are quiet, according to the rules, I will recognize Honorable Sayed.
Chair, thank you very much, Chair. Chairperson, firstly, Chairperson, members are responding to heckling from the other side of the House as well. It's not a one-way traffic. I think that needs to be made very clear. Then also, I think, Chairperson, you ought to give us the rule which indicates and gives provision for a member to be asked to stand when he or she is being addressed, because I think that is really a problem here, where members are being asked to stand, not to stand to speak, but to stand and rise when they are being told something by the presiding officer, because those things are contributing to the tension that we are having. I think, can we get to the next item, please? Because, I mean, we cannot be interrupted by frivolous points of order consistently. Thank you.
Okay. No, I didn't recognize you. Now you will sit down, Honorable Lily, because I'm busy responding to your Deputy Chief Whip. Right. Now, firstly, I think many of you have been here for almost 3 years, most, if not more, and some have been here since 2014. We all know the rules of this House, that we rise on a point of order, correct? And that anybody could raise a point of order. If it's not a point of order, it's not a point of order. Now, I did not, because you were so busy shouting at Honourable Kayla Murray that you didn't even hear I had not responded to her. Honourable Sayed is correct, but Honourable Lily, you are facing that way and constantly interjecting. So all I'm saying to is everyone, I am allowing freedom of speech within the rules. Let me finish, Honourable Lily. I know you are wanting to speak to me, and I will recognize you. But I would really like just a little bit of decorum amongst members. This is a normal debate. We've been doing this for years now, and this is such a serious matter. We have guests in the gallery. Honourable Lily, I will recognize you when I'm done. But there is no harm in Honourable Kayla Murray raising what she thinks is her point of order. Whether I choose to decide and make a ruling on that is not her problem, it is mine. I have not even responded. All I did was went from her over to Honourable Sayed. So please, we need to be mindful of the rules. Also, whenever I rise during the debate too, it does mean that members must sit down, all right? It is a matter of decorum for you to rise when you are speaking. You rise on a point of order, okay? Now, Honourable Lily, I'm going to allow you to allow Honourable Lily to make his point of order or make his submission. Rise, and I will recognize you. Over to you, Honourable Lily.
No, I think Honourable Khalid is correct that you've been on my case to embarrass me in this House, asking me only in this House to stand as and when you are talking. But when it comes to other members, for instance, when I was talking, I was interjected here many times, howled by the Honourable Minister of Human Settlement or Infrastructure, whatever. But when it comes to them, you seem to be biased, and that is totally wrong. And even that honorable member over there, she is not consistent when it comes to people who are, no, I'm saying she is also not consistent when it comes to people who are interrupting. I'm talking about that honorable member over there.
Honorable Lily, you must say
Look,
honorable
now she's
members.
interrupting me.
But let's just have respect for everyone.
So I'm
That's fine.
saying, Speaker, please be fair. And please don't try to embarrass me.
Honorable Lily, you must.
If there is no law that allows you to ask me to stand when you speak, then please don't do that. Not unless you have a law that says, no. If you have a rule that governs you to instruct me to stand like a little boy in a church or in a street somewhere, then I will accept that. But if there is no rule, then please behave.
Honorable Lily, have you
Don't
got your
abuse your powers.
Honorable Lily, have you got your rule book in front of you?
Don't
In terms of Rule 51,
Don't abuse your powers.
in terms of sit down, please. In terms of Rule 51, you must rise to speak to. You must rise in the member's place, addressing the chair.
You
Rule
are,
51.
but you don't. You
those
don't
on
even
the side.
before I talk. Then you said,
Because
please
you
stand up.
ignored.
I'm talking to you.
Yes.
That is
because you're
rude.
ignoring. That's correct.
That is rude.
Over to you, Honorable Syed. We're going to be here
Chairperson,
for hours. No, Honorable Syed, way before you.
Chairperson, Rule 51 speaks about the members standing when they want to say something.
Yes.
Not necessarily standing when they have to be given a dressing down. I think that is what's adding to the tension. Presiding officers do not ask a member to rise and be given a dressing down when they are standing. It's happened to the Honorable Windvogel before. It's happened to the Honorable Baku Fos before. And I think that must not happen, Honorable Deputy Speaker, because, and I ask for the rule to be quoted which allows for that. Can you please give us the rule, because I can't see such a rule existing. Rule 51 does not speak to that. So I think it's a two-way. I think members are getting excited. There's heckling. That happens. That's natural in the House. But let us not introduce new rules and humiliate members and let them stand up to be given a dressing down. They must stand up when they want to speak, but not to be spoken to. Thank you.
I would like to proceed. I think what is very important is that the House is in disarray. And Honorable Lily, when you do, if I'm speaking to you and you ignore me, then it would be very normal for me to actually call you to order. So I don't want to hackle on this anymore. That's for anybody. I would like to now proceed to questions for oral
Speaker,
reply.
I'm expecting you to apologize at least. If not unless you believe that you are right. No, for humiliating me to say I must stand. For humiliating me.
Honorable
For
Lily,
humiliating me in this House.
Honorable Lily, I'm going to have to, you're causing a disruption in the House now.
I'm saying you must
I'm
apologize.
going to have to ask you to go.
But you must apologize for humiliating me in this House.
No, Honorable Lily, sit down. Sit down.
Not unless you have a rule.
Honorable Lily, I'm going to name you 3 times. I'm going to ask you to remove. You are actually causing a disruption to this House.
No, but I'm asking you to apologize to me.
Honorable Lily, sit down.
You must apologize to me.
I won't have to do
I'm
anything.
demanding.
Honorable Lily, you're named once. You're named
Speaking in
once.
terms of the rules, he needs to walk. The member must leave the House. He's been disruptive.
I'm asking for an apology.
Honorable Lily, sit down. Otherwise, I'm naming you twice.
You're abusing your powers.
Thank you. Can we now move over to questions for oral reply? Honorable Lily. Honorable Lily, will you please leave the House?
Speaker, I can't be
Honorable
abused.
Lily, will you please remove?
I can't be abused.
Please remove the Honorable Lily from this
I
House.
can't be abused.
And I will refer him to a
You must
disciplinary
apologize.
council.
You abused me.
The House will be
Point of
suspended
order,
for 10
Speaker.
minutes.
You can't abuse me and expect me to respect you.